Hey, Matt.
Hello.
It's the first time sort of doing this a bit more professionally, it feels like.
With a microphone and
Yeah,
some lighting, yes.
yes, proper like tables and stuff. It's been awesome sort of hanging out together, doing our own thing and just chatting throughout the year, realizing we both live like 5 minutes away
Mm,
from each other. And when somebody brought us together for like a different sort of podcast, we were like, why don't we do this ourselves?
yes.
So awesome to have you. I don't know what this is called really.
No, are you having me? Are you the host? I
I don't.
guess. We
Uh,
didn't really know what this was, but
I
we can
mean,
have a
we'll co-host it. I don't feel like a host at
mm.
all. We can call it like I don't know, whatever. We'll think of the
Just
title
think of a
later.
name, yeah.
But I guess what we were just saying is like sort of go through our year and bring our chats to life a bit and talk about what worked in our business, what didn't work, and then we'll just see where this goes, really.
Yeah. So I guess like for context for anyone who is watching or listening to this, me and you have we've been friends for like probably a couple of years. We met through LinkedIn, kind of in the same world-ish of like posting content and that sort of stuff. Um, I'm more focused on helping people write copy. You're more focused on helping people with offers, email systems, and very clever things that I can't even get my mind around. Um, and it wasn't really until this year where we actually started like really going back and forth on WhatsApp, telling each other what we're doing
Hmm.
and sharing like nuggets and insights and all that kind of stuff. I think before we just kind of chatted and we'd go for
Yeah.
breakfast every now and then and stuff like that. But this year, I think we kind of dialed in on like without really kind of putting anything in place. We just kind of started talking to each other and sharing lots of things, and it's been really beneficial for me, definitely, just talking to someone about it.
Yeah. I think the funnest part here was we always sort of either coach someone or advise them or do hands-on work, but actually having somebody to just soundboard or along the journey has been so eye-opening. And I think we both went from like something that was sort of idle into, an uphill. And then we figured it out on the way and just bounced ideas.
Mm.
Because I remember you were telling me like you started off a little bit slow. I had a daughter at the beginning of the year, so it was sort of like, whoa, what
Yeah.
just happened? But um, yeah, shall we dive into what that looked like a little bit, and then um, see where we can pick out those little WhatsApp nuggets and expand on them? What
Yeah,
do you reckon?
I think so. I think I when I look back at this year, 2025, I kind of see there was like a very clear, like, I'd say dull period at the start. And then like the summer got really busy, and then even towards the end was really good as well. Um, I can't really specifically remember like a turning point, like maybe as we kind of talk more, it'll unveil itself. But like um, I think it was probably so from like for me from January to March, I was up until like 2025, my positioning was to help people, was to help founders and business owners specifically to attract clients with their LinkedIn content. So like that was my headline on LinkedIn, it was all my positioning and everything
Hmm.
was like driven around that. Like I don't just help you get impressions and followers and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
specifically clients. Um, but then what I'd found kind of last year in 2024 was a lot of other people had cottoned onto that.
Yeah.
That's what people wanted. And then all of a sudden, like everyone's saying, I help you write content
Yeah.
to attract
Clients.
clients. So then I worked with a guy called Ken Yarmosh and to kind of look at like, okay, what's 2025 going to be? Like, what are we still going to talk about attracting clients? Because that feels a bit saturated and a bit
Hmm.
kind of overdone now. So where's the kind of the gap in the market where I can kind of sit and position myself in like
Hmm.
writing or kind of like LinkedIn space, I guess. And working through that, kind of settled on like instead of focusing on helping people get clients, was more, how can I make it fun? The writing process, like fun. How can I make it fast, easy,
Mm.
enjoyable? So like people can actually just post consistently, write consistently, and just generally do it for a long period of time, because that's ultimately the biggest problem that people have with
That
posting on
suits you,
LinkedIn.
right? Like I
Yeah,
remember when we met and I bought your templates or something, and it was right from day one. Oh my God, he's just simplified this process. So did it? It must have felt really wholesome to leave the whole client thing and double down on actually LinkedIn content that's simple. And
yeah.
was it fast, easy, and fun?
Fast, easy, and fun
Yeah,
LinkedIn writing is the like position that I've tried to just like set that, and that's it. I'm leaving it, and that's
yeah.
like where all the content, all the messaging that I put out tries to kind of come back to.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, still talking about like outcomes where it's like you can attract podcast invites, speaking opportunities,
Mm.
clients, but that it's not just clients. It's like kind of broadening. The idea was to broaden out of just businesses, because there's a whole host of other audiences and people that need to be able to write online,
Hmm.
not just business owners, but like, you know, C-suites for companies who aren't, they don't run their own business, they're just
Oh
at a
yeah,
company. Or even just like, a junior, like a young person who's just started in their career, like if they can post
yeah.
stuff
No,
online and they can grow an audience, and it's going to really benefit their career. And that writing online and writing content online can accelerate your personal growth as a person. I know for me, I've
yeah.
I've, I've grown like looking back 5 years ago before I started, completely different person. So not just your personal, but also your career. So that's the kind of the idea around it, and working with people, it's kind of resulted in this like kind of better relationship where you're not so tied to. There's less like tension in the air. Like if you're doing something with a client and it's not quite going how you'd kind of
Yeah,
hope, and it's
money
like,
bro energy.
yeah, there's like, haven't got any leads yet, or
Yeah.
still waiting to sign my client, and there's so many variables around that work, that specifically working for someone. It makes it really hard when you combine like getting clients for someone and it being like through LinkedIn content, which is ultimately just social media. So it's super hard and creates a kind of
Yeah.
tense relationship. But yeah, focusing on the process has been really fun. But at the start, it wasn't so clear or easy, because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to keep kind of consulting. So I do like one-to-one consulting where people send me their posts and I
Hmm.
audit them and tell them where they're going wrong and what they should be doing instead. Um, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do more of that, or whether I just, create a course, because I've got like 100 plus thousand followers, which is like a big audience. So do I go down the digital product route and just kind of try and scale that out? So the first 3 months was kind of in limbo, trying to figure that out, and I wasn't really
Yeah.
sure what I was doing. And it was probably towards the end of that period, in like end of March maybe, or March, where we started talking.
Yeah,
Um,
you sort of said I went through this weird phase where I messaged all my clients and just said I'm not going to do a particular vertical of the business anymore. And then you were in this state of like, man, I've just sent them the message and so happened. And I remember that distinctly. I was like, what is he up to? What was the reason that happened actually? Like, was it you just going, I feel like I'm going into a different direction? Was it like the energy or the momentum was lost? What was actually the like, if you can remember the moment that you were like, I'm gonna do this thing?
yeah, so it was actually the one-to-one consulting that I binned off. That was in December 24. Um, it just got to a point where I was working with a couple of clients who were like, good clients, like they were really reliable, like they always sent me stuff on time, and like I always got it back to them, and there was a really good relationship. But the way it was working was, it was like a monthly retainer, so it would keep rolling over. And one of the guys I'd worked with for I think like 10 months or like 12 months, another guy for 3 or 4 months. Um, and it kind of, no disrespect to them, it was more the model itself and me, but like it just started feeling really tiring.
Your
And like,
full cycle
yeah, I'd,
moment,
I'd wake
basically.
up on Monday, look at my calendar and see that in there. I'd think, fuck's sake, like,
Yeah,
I've got to do this again, like audit
yeah.
these posts and blah, blah, blah. Um, and I just felt really tired of it. So in December,
Mm.
I just said, you know, I'm gonna cut these clients off. I'm gonna stop doing this, and I'm gonna really try and focus on building a product, a new one. So my last course was in 23,
Mm-hmm.
so it's been like 2 years now. Build a new product, that's my main product, and then possibly, you know, a community, which is a more, you know, scalable
Mm-hmm.
way to work with people and just capitalize on the volume that I've got and get people into those, and that would be the revenue.
Yeah.
That was the idea. But from like January 1st, it was like, right,
Now what?
I've got to build a course, I've got to
Yeah.
build a community, and then if you're not like in the right frame of mind, and sometimes I I am self motivated, but with that and specific things, for some reason, I just really can't. If it's like a project that I have to manage by myself, I just can't do it. I don't know
Yeah, you
why.
had to. I remember when we were talking, we started talking about pricing models and things, and like, what would you do if and that? Because in my world, I had been running the community, I think, from a little bit beforehand. And you were sort of thinking, how do I make this, how do I design it in a way that still abides by my, the way I want to run my business? And I remember, even though I was answering you, I was going, man, that's a brilliant idea. Why on earth am I doing this many calls or this much access and so on and so forth? So even in your way of going, I'm trying to figure it out, it was giving me nuggets on what to eliminate from my own line of work as well.
Mm.
So it was pretty cool. So then you set it up and then started literally using that as the base, right? It was community led, like a community led course in a way that had the different tiers.
Yeah. So I created a community on School, Copy Builders, which I'd actually attempted to launch early in 2024, which I got like 10 people in on like a founder pricing, which was actually more near, I think, the price that you had for
Mm-hmm.
for Modern Maker. Got 10 people in. They were in for like, I don't know, I think it was a month. All 10 left
Yeah.
within like after a month. I don't think it was because it was like, it was bad. It was just because the pricing just wasn't like right. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like, do I really want to pay like 400 a month for this when it's
Yeah.
not quite one to one. It's not quite like community. It was like an awkward in between. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I had another go at the community, lower price, and I kind of just went about it in a way of like, I'm just going to put all the stuff that I've made that has been useful to people, like all
Mm-hmm.
my courses, templates, any resources and frameworks that I've made, throw them all in the School group and put a much lower price on it, and just allow people to get access to me, ask me questions, and
Mm-hmm.
get access to all the resources and stuff. So it's like a world of Matt sort of
Yeah.
thing, like just come in and join my little world. And that started off a lot better. People were joining that, but it wasn't really growing fast enough. I wasn't like pushing it like
Yeah.
constantly. It wasn't like growing super super fast. I still wasn't building the course, and I still wasn't doing any one-to-one stuff. So like January, Feb, March was still just very slow. Um, and Yeah, and it was really hard because like you're not it's annoying because you tend to tie your self-worth to the money
Yeah.
that's coming in, or at least I do.
Like limiting beliefs start popping
Yeah,
up, and you're like, am I doing this right? Or,
yeah.
yeah.
So you have these I just kept having these moments where I'm like, I just don't know what to do. Like there was genuinely days where I was like, I actually don't know how to sign a new client.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't know how to do it. I was just in that state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was around March when we started talking, and I finished up with Ken in our course and in our kind of engagement. And then towards the end of it, and I think it was on like our last call with me and Ken, where I was like, I just can't, for some reason, I just can't build this course, and I know that's the thing that's gonna
Mm-hmm.
kick it off, but I just can't do it. And because I was also trying to talk to kind of a new, broader audience, not just attract clients, but like everyone. So it was all changing, and it was all felt really difficult, and I just couldn't get to it. And it was on that last call where I was just like, look, just forget the course, just try and get like 5 clients who you can work with one-to-one, and just see what they need help with,
Yeah.
and then just figure it out from there. And then that was when I started doing the one-to-one again, and it actually felt good.
Yeah, you were like, I actually enjoy the sales call process again.
Yeah.
Actually meeting people, coming out of my cave, like the async world, and going sync for a little bit.
Yeah, because I typically just hate sales calls.
Yeah.
Like, just don't see the point in them, which is just a ridiculous notion, obviously, but like, never seen the point in them. I'm not very good at them typically. So, and I like to kind of keep my calendar as free as humanly possible. But I started doing sales calls again to get, just talk to people and see like the new types of people I was trying to attract with this new kind of position around like more focusing on the process of the writing as opposed to the outcome. Seeing what problems people were having and what they really wanted. And that was all really helpful to actually get on sales calls. And I think because I'd had like this 3-month break of working with people closely, but also not doing any sales calls in a long time, I was there was this, after that 3 months, I kind of thought like, you know what, even though those 3 months were really bad, or they felt really bad, I got through that and I didn't need it.
Yeah.
So then when you don't need something, then you kind of,
it's like abundant in a way.
Yeah, I was going about it from a view of like, I want to do this. I'm choosing to do this. I'm not having to do this to get revenue in. Although I was technically, but like I chose to do that as opposed to keep trying to do the other things. I chose to do that, and it suddenly felt like enjoyable, which is ironic. And yeah, then sales calls became like nice. I just get on a call, chat with them, and then like help them with whatever.
It was more like a vibe check, wasn't it?
It was
Instead
more of like
a sales
consulting
call.
session and stuff, and that really helped. So so I'll pause on me for the moment. So where were you in like the first 3 months of 25?
So it's really interesting to hear it now, because it was like us chatting through text and voice notes and like making synapses. Because for me, I remember like we were chatting on and off. We told you my wife was pregnant, and during December I had done like a few sessions with a performance coach that I found, and he asked me this question that was like, you've got a daughter coming up. How are you going to show up? Like, are you going to continue being this sort of like hustle bro, if we put it in the right terms? And I had the systems, I had everything, but I remember even when we would go out for a drink or two or whatever, you were like, man, I don't know how you do it with your calendar. And I was quite the opposite. So I felt systemized, and I had probably one of the craziest revenue years to close off 2024. But it hit me when he asked that question. It was like, what kind of dad are you going to be? And in hindsight, like, I remember the Zoom call was recorded, and I played it back in the hospital when it was like closer to February, when Ophelia was going to be born, whatever. And it just hit me, it was in that moment. Up until that point, it wasn't really my reality. It was like this afterthought of, he kind of just said that. So my calendar, was still serving a lot of one-on-ones, had the groups, had multiple tiers and things. And as time got closer, my wife was getting bigger as well. So you start feeling the kicks, and there was something in me that flicked. And there was one thing you said once where you're like, I actually don't know how you do it. And that stuck with me in one of the WhatsApps. And I was like, I don't know how I do it. It's like by sheer grind, or like, we're in our 30s, but how long can you sustain it? It's like you're trying to run this marathon that just doesn't end. You can't see the finish line. And when you told me in December that you let go of those clients, it was just like a little laser beam where I went, what happens if you let go? Does that really true? Like, who do you have to be? How does it feel like? Because I was quite revenue driven, I think, at the time. And like the industry that I was in was that sort of money driven thing. And it still is to that extent. But I went, how do you come out of that for 2026 and actually be a full-time dad? So I had a conversation with Artemis. And I was like, I want to be full-time dad on Wednesdays and Fridays. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea, but I'm about to do something that feels really weird to my insides. And she went, do it. So come January, I sort of messaged a bunch of clients that were in these middle tiers. I was just spinning offers left, right, and center, going everything's on sale with deadlines and things, and looked at the finances and went, these sort of worked, but they're not going to scale. What am I good at? Funnels, offers, one-on-one, intimate. I had 27 one-on-ones at that time.
How?
And I just went, no wonder you're working round the clock. So then I literally went, the Wednesday people, delete. Or who do you want to delete? I had that full circle moment as well, because some of the sessions would start to drag a little bit. And I felt in my world, as soon as when I install a funnel for you and then it actually runs, whether you're doing organic or ads or whatever it is, you technically don't need me.
Yeah.
After that. So I went, what if I go back to my sort of agency mindset and go, here's a project. We're going to record an album. I'm going to give it to you, or we're going to build a website, whatever it is, I'm going to give it to you, and off you go. And when you laser beamed me indirectly, I just went, I think we're done. You can have lifetime access to the community, all stuff that I have. I'll still be sort of in your pocket, or you can show up. And my revenue just went whoop. And I was like, I actually feel okay. It didn't change the way I live, or it did shake me. Obviously, you're used to seeing numbers, and I was just like, it's not zero. It is actually quite nice to experience that. But it was the first time, and then I went, okay, revenue dip. January was all about my nervous system, and it was a mess. It was refunds and getting people off and trying to decide what really felt aligned, and me sort of trying to transition out of money world and into more content systems, basically email driven. I started realizing I love the offers, I love the funnels, but actually I'm enjoying the email side of the writing. But you need that stuff to get to my world. So I literally looked at my program and went, all this branding stuff, LinkedIn brand, blah, 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 finding a niche, gone. All of this sales stuff, gone. How can I just be the offer funnel email sort of universe thing? So it became a lot more marketing than a holistic business coaching model thing. And it just felt right. And a lot of people went, that doesn't resonate with me, or it does. And I started for the first time to see this new positioning where I think we were chatting on and off, and you said something like, you're better off serving almost like secondary school kids, not primary school kids.
Yeah.
And that was a wholesome moment where I said, yeah, my best clients one-on-one want me to hybrid with you, for you just install the funnel, and then we get to the emails and run campaigns and, do what they do best. So when I did that in January, February was when we were expecting the baby. So I was literally that was a whole Guy Ritchie, Quentin Tarantino type finale of the movie of, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah.
The Office scene where things are just exploding. And we had a scare where the baby was coming sooner, and we went to hospital on Valentine's Day.
Oh, was she going to come early?
Yeah. So we got there, did whatever, and then didn't happen. So they sent us home. But that 24 hours on Valentine's was literally how are you going to get to work? Is this so then I went, okay, this scare is good. She's coming. Like it's in a week, it's in 3 days. You got to do what you got to do right now to set up this 3 day a week thing. You got to be full-time dad. You spelt it out. Off you go. So then I took the second revenue dip, which was literally telling people we're going to downgrade. If your founder's pricing, you stay, blah, blah, blah. So I did that, and then had 2 weeks before the baby came where I experienced working Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. And I was just like, whoa, this is like, it felt weird. I felt fraudulent. Like, oh my God, I'm a bum now. I'm sitting on the couch and this feels so weird, and I'm not taking the calls, so on and so forth. But I had this clarity of this is what I want to do, which to me was community is your highest leverage thing. You spent so many years getting to this point. You just created noise in the middle when really it should just be community and one-on-one. So when I started doing that, I was like, okay, what are the highest leverage activities you're doing that you enjoy? And sort of just looked at it like a traffic light system, green, amber, and red. And I wrote it in a notebook and I said, I love writing emails. I love doing this. I love doing this. And realized patterns that were frustrating me. And it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that it feels misaligned. So the business sort of went through this period of like just stagnation, I guess. Like, not stagnation in a, I didn't feel excited. It was, I felt like I was shifting identity or figuring out what this new dad role was going to be and not really knowing what it is until it was. But the baby was born at the end of February, and I remember after like taking 3 to 4 weeks off, the first 2 weeks were really off. And then I started, like, obviously spoke to clients and whatever. But in those 4 weeks, I went, I have nothing to do. So my mind started patching all these doubts and thoughts, and like you're holding a human being going, I've got goosebumps just thinking about it, going, she deserves my time.
Yeah.
Like, now priorities shift. And nothing happened. Like, business-wise, nobody left. Nobody was mad. I just had to communicate that these are now the rules. And it's strange thinking back because I think we both share this in terms of like when it comes to writing or showing up or like the day-to-day stuff, you have confidence, but you like put yourself in your own judgment loop, or like, it's almost like self-sabotage,
well,
right?
You create these own rules for yourself, and then once you've done it for a while, like what your situation was prior to Nefeli being born, you'd created these rules whether you kind of knew it or not, and then like, so when you then start to like break out of that, it just feels like you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Which is just so stupid because you created the rules in the first place. So like you can just change them. And like the people who are working with you, like they're working with you based on, what you've created. So like if you just change it with the intention that they're still going to get something out of it, then it's fine. But like you just convince yourself that you can't change these rules that you've created. It's really stupid. So
and I mean, it's so funny looking back because it was like I held on to some fear that I'm going to lose everything. Like everything's going to just disappear. It's not. I mean, yeah, people did get upset and question why. And then all of a sudden when the new person's onboarded and these are the new rules, they say okay and they walk through the door and with a massive smile and thank you for it.
Yeah, because that's all they know.
That's all they know.
Yeah.
So I think for me, beginning of March when we started talking, we met, baby, this, that. It was like me sort of coming out of the ashes in a way going, it worked.
Yeah.
It feels right. And then the next quarter was all about, can I sustain this design, not bleed through the cracks? where 2024 me would bleed through all the cracks, I think.
Mm.
This was literally, well, you've got a baby to shower, you've got a baby to feed, you've got, diapers to change. These are the time frames that you have.
Mm.
But I think it was a lot more of an inner game challenge for me and a status, like, again, self-imposed status. Oh, I'm not going to be the guy who makes X.
Yeah.
And it literally became, who cares if you don't make X?
Yeah.
Are you happy? So I think come March when we started chatting, it was more, maybe I was so used to being somebody who gave advice that it felt like I don't have to give advice. Matt doesn't have to advise me. It was just, can I have someone at the same level?
Yeah.
Just to chat to without any, like, I don't have to become, I have to just be me. And it gave me this sense of, oh, he's also got these doubts, or he's also going through something. I wonder how many more people are figuring it out. You don't have to have everything outlined. And I remember writing emails about the messy middle going, I actually don't know what it's like to be a dad. This was my first day and this is how work is. And people started responding. So it gave me a clear sign of, it's all about being you now without those polished expectations. And I just started embracing the mess and talking about it and figuring it out. But I think I'm curious, because I feel like I've said a lot, to let you go into now Q2.
Q2, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
April, May, June. Yeah. So I think so. It was around that time, around the end of March, start of April, was when I'd felt pretty. I'd been kind of putting different types of content out in the first quarter to kind of see like what resonated and what performed well, because that was, now that I was talking to a broader kind of type of person who wanted various different outcomes and more like growth in life and career, it required like a little bit of a different type of content, which I remember us talking about for you as well.
Yeah.
And that was like the initial kind of like, okay, well, this works. And then I started doing like CTAs to be like, come and talk to me, blah, 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 to work with me one-to-one. And I changed my one-to-one from a monthly retainer to just a 3-month thing, which immediately felt a lot nicer to know that there was an end date when you're working with someone. And then April signed, I think, like 2 or 3 clients on that. And that was like, okay, great, like we're rolling now. And I also started working with a guy called Alex Thompson, who was helping me with my like email strategy. Because I think in 2024, I sent an email every single day, I think, just to kind of practice writing emails, test different things and just kind of figure it all out and whatever. But what I was really bad at was planning ahead and having like, okay, I'm going to promote this on this date and I'm going to send these types of emails in this period. So I just needed someone to come in and really help me, like, be like, just do this on these dates and then just do it. So that was very helpful because email is such a big revenue driver. So that was, the email started feeling a lot easier. The content was kind of in a place where I kind of liked it. Started signing some one-to-one clients. And that was really like my main focus from, I think, April, May to June, was just trying to get more of these one-to-one clients, because it was basically, I was working basically in the same way that I had been with them in the previous year, but I actually added in calls. So I actually added more things in, but I found that for some reason I was really enjoying the calls with people.
Client calls.
Yeah, client calls, yeah. So that was really fun, and I was just kind of continuing with that, like putting the content out, still trying to figure out that and like what's going to get me, like, because one of the things as well was I wanted to I think in 2024, and because I was talking to specifically like like trying to get people who wanted clients, it was like it almost got like too strategic and a bit too kind of
Yeah.
um, bit too serious, and it wasn't really talking to a big enough audience. So like part of the kind of 2025 goal was like, how can I get my engagement like back up and really try and like figure LinkedIn out again and like really like get back in the group with that. And so kind of felt like I was getting back into it with that, and like impressions were really good, and followers were growing, engagement was going up. When seemingly it was everyone, it wasn't happening. It was LinkedIn is dead according to half the
Not
platform.
in Matt Town.
But because I was just
Yeah.
I was really looking at it through a microscope
Yeah.
again, which is something I was probably doing more of towards the start when I was trying to figure it out, and then kind of as you get a bit complacent, don't you? So I started figuring it out again. So that was really going, and then one-to-one clients I was really focused on that, and then the community in the background, copy builders, I was getting more and more people into that, and that was growing quite quickly. Um, so the Q2 was really kind of focused on just that. Like I know kind of roughly like what I'm doing now. Feel really confident with like delivering the offer, who I'm trying to get in, and how I can actually close them. It was either just get them on a sales call, or just DM and create like an offer doc, like what you help people do, and email hand raisers, get replies, send the offer doc to them, and then they can sign on if they want. So it was a mixture of that. So that was really just the focus for that period, I think. And it was kind of around, I guess, towards like June, I think, where I started taking my LinkedIn content in a different direction slightly, because I'd kind of gone down a bit more of a rabbit hole with like LinkedIn content, and seen like an article by one of the LinkedIn guys where he was talking about like they want to see experts posting about their experience in their industry, what they're doing now, and creating economic opportunity for themselves and the reader. So like when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, that like really makes sense now. Exactly what I need to be posting. So that was when I started kind of talking more about like writing from your lived experience.
Yeah, I remember
which
that.
is like just, and you've been talking about this for a long time. Just kind of took it in a different direction, I guess. But just like looking back at the last week or month or even year, and just being like, what was I doing on this date? And just be like, okay,
Yeah, so and so.
yeah, what was I doing within like in my business or in my life or in my expertise, career, job, whatever, and just talking about that thing and just being like, what actually what was the thing that happened? Why was that important? What was the context around that thing? And then how can I give some sort of advice to the reader to help them do something? Because I'm trying
Like
to
implement.
yeah, talking from someone who's in their industry doing stuff. So that was me in talking about the things I'm doing in my industry, and then creating opportunity for the person reading it. So giving them advice at the end of the post. So like there was this really clear like formula, which was like, okay, I need to just do this, and I started doing that like every day, and it just made such a massive difference. So like impressions, engagement wasn't like crazy through the roof because of it, but the impressions definitely. So that told me like LinkedIn wants to push this to more people.
You're also showing people almost like the behind the curtain
Yeah,
moment of how you think, how you work, right? It's like a carpenter, and you stick a camera behind him and you watch them
yeah,
saw the wood.
yeah. So it's like, and by proxy of doing that, of just talking about the things that you're doing, you're marketing your business, you're marketing your expertise, you're showing that you're a normal person living like a normal life. So just by talking about the things you're doing, it's like just the easiest way to make content, because you're just like commentating on your life basically. And it felt like I'd really like started figuring it out, and that was that really helped with like, my profile was like kind of popping off to a kind of different level than it had been before. It felt a lot more fun and enjoyable to write the content, and that felt like a really kind of easy thing that I could teach to my clients as well, and teach to people in my community. I started getting a different level of like engagement from people. There was like people, like, other people who run agencies and other creators in our kind of space who were like DMing me and being like, I'm really like watching what you're doing now. But that was all that happened was I just started talking about the things that I just do.
Demonstrating.
And like the outcomes that I'm getting, like this post went off, this is why it happened, and here's how you can do it. This client had this outcome, this is what we did, and here's how you can do it. So it all started feeling really simple and easy, and that was like that felt like a method that I could really just teach to people and really like.
Is that the lived experience framework or method that you coined upon realizing that then?
Yeah. And it's not like I'm not necessarily like selling that or being like, I'm going to teach you how to write from lived experience, but it's like, I guess it's like the main
realization from
I guess
sharing.
It's the same with you, like your modern maker system or whatever, like that's your like
show
your
post
process that you teach people, and that's the world. But like, I guess for me that was just the one thing that I could like cling on to and just be like, this is really working now, just keep talking about it, and then keep relaying it back to like, it's fast to do, it's easy to do, it's fun. Like it makes it all feel a lot more enjoyable. So then people would enjoy seeing this in action. They would buy into that process. So then when they come to talk to me, they're not thinking about clients, or they're not thinking about like podcast invites or anything like that, really. They're just thinking about like,
how do I write?
They're just thinking like, you know what, I hate doing this. I really just want to enjoy it because I know it's beneficial for me. So then when I'm working with people, either in the community or I think there was a guy who joined the community just yesterday, and he's like, I joined because I really like Matt's vibe and just the way just focus on try and make LinkedIn and like writing fun.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing that I want people to come in with. So like, if your marketing is right with that general, like your messaging is right at the start, then people who are coming in they're going to come in with the right mindset.
Yeah, and it's also like probably because when we were chatting in the WhatsApps, I remember telling you how easy it felt to just write from your calendar. Like, I remember sitting, and if you don't see it and you're not from this world, writing is such a scary thing, but you're like, just point at the block in your calendar and recite back what you said in bullet points. And they're like, oh, I can do that. It's like, well, pick up your phone and voice note it to yourself as a starting point. And then I remember with your posts as well, and something that was coming naturally to me was I didn't even care about the Canva templates or the carousels anymore. It was like literally the screenshot of a thank you message on WhatsApp or an email or a graph going up or down or whatever it is. And that was the thing people found interesting, right? Like the process of how to do it. And people are like, oh, my calendar is my content plan now.
And it's like that was that kind of, writing like that has always been great. Like, I watch my wife on TikTok and she's like, she's following like some random person talking about like, get ready with me to go to whatever it is, or like just talking about like some random bullshit that they've just been doing in their life, and like she's like fully engaged with it, and like, so that's been happening for years. But on LinkedIn especially, because it's such this like professional place, and like nobody really reveals much, and it's like you have to kind of have a certain image to like look good in front of your bosses and these sorts of things. So like LinkedIn never really caught up with that sort of like casual style of of communicating with like your audience. But after AI and ChatGPT really like developed, and people really start to figure out like, I can just press a button and then I can get it to write everything for me. The problem is it's shit. And most people don't know how to make it better using ChatGPT or whatever platform you're using. So that was almost a godsend, because that then just created all this terrible content. So then everyone needed, you've got all this terrible generic content going out on LinkedIn. So then all you need to do is just be like, well, if I just write like it's actually me writing
Human,
it,
right?
that's going to really stand out. And it did. So, it worked. So combining, what we're talking about with like LinkedIn, economic opportunity, talking from your expertise, and then the AI kind of shitstorm of like,
Yeah.
if you just talk like a normal person, then you're probably going to stand out. There's so many times when I've just looked through the feed and it's like, most people do this, 99% of da-da-da. It's like this, like in a row. There was a day where I logged in to LinkedIn and looked through the feed. There was 7 posts. I think 4 of the hooks were the same.
And the middle
thing.
bit's like, no, just, or...
Yeah, and it's all the same, like, generic thing. It's not someone actually writing from, like, something they've done. Like,
it's too polished, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole uncomfortable truth thing. I saw a post that you did the other day, which was like, you found somebody that was well-known who used AI, and then you were like, this is not what a human being should sound like.
That's right. Spencer Matthews,
Yeah.
he's a bit of a kind of celeb in the UK.
Yeah, and I was just like, of course, like how inhumane does that look? And how many more people do that? Like, I also see these little phrases now and I laugh. I'm like, I can't take you seriously. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's literally not you.
Yeah.
And what would it take for you to literally voice note it? Like, you showed me Whisperflow. That's like a godsend app, because you're like,
that's been
just
amazing.
Voice note it, transcribe it, and paste it in there. And you're outperforming all of that sloppy side of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that like the lived experience thing like gave me this kind of new level of like, okay, this is like something that I know I really need to teach people and really need to like talk about, because this is actually important. And then as I've been working with people, it started becoming more apparent, like these are the things they really struggle with, or like as I'm auditing their posts, I'm like, there's really clear themes of stuff that like they're really not good at and they need help with. So then, that kind of Q2 period was like, to summarize it, I guess, was like really finding like what was working on LinkedIn with the content and the marketing, and kind of discovering this like, I guess, method, which was like something that I could really hone in on and teach people. And then also just spending time with clients, figuring out exactly what like they need help with, problems, which is going to benefit me down the line to, create resources for my community and create a course at some point, because I'm still discovering this kind of new audience that I'm trying to target and pull in. So it was a combination of those 3 things really, and just kind of focusing on like, okay, the one-to-one offer is selling well and I can get more people into that. So that was really those 3 months. And if I'm mistaken, I think that kind of period for you, I remember us having a conversation around like, what's your like, if you had a word or like an idea that was you, like with Ryan Holiday, it's like stoicism.
Yeah.
Alex Hormozy, it's like offers or whatever it is. James Clear, habits. What's that thing for you? For me, I tried to get this like fast, easy, fun writing. But for you, I think we were having a conversation and you were still in this kind of leads area. And I think I remember saying to you, I was like, when I think of you, I do not think of Leeds at all. And you were like, really?
Yeah, it was really nice for me because my Q2 was doubling down on my word, which came out to be leverage. Because I remember we were chatting. I had 2 mega viral posts for my sized audience, where one of them was, hey, I've just become a dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you're sharing something like out of professional work. And the second one was literally me on the second day or something, or like when we got home with the baby, hid the face. And I said, I came back to 5 figures in sales that happened while I was away. And I literally broke down, I think, your lived experience type of post. I just call them show posts. So you share something, hobbies, interests, values, philosophies, or you show literally you collect the experience. So I just went, this is how I made it, without necessarily like revealing the numbers. And I was like, somebody comes through, they buy something small, and they buy something big. There's 2 emails here that upsell you to like blah, 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 the process. And I remember being like awestruck because it was like, I've got a baby now, money's coming through, nothing really happened. But this post summarized my clarity moment, because I was like, it is leverage. You got this income while you were away. You've got to speak to people about this. And I had it all along, but it wasn't like, because I was looking at it from the money angle. I just switched my bio after that conversation to 1 offer, 1 post, 1 email a day, which essentially is a system. And I was like, I'm more fascinated at almost like the revenue optimization of this system, not so much LinkedIn on its own, email on its own, offers on their own, but the ecosystem. And when you patch this up together, you can build leverage. And then when we were chatting, you were like, yeah, I mean, you live in Cyprus, you now you're trying the 3 days a week thing, just document. I think for me, the question mark was more, how do I show the life side and actually speak the truth? And I remember writing posts on that end going, this feels abnormal to me. My nervous system's going, this is wrong. And people were resonating. And then when I documented the system side with my show posts, I also had inquiries from people who were hustling on calls, sending DMs, like pushing to get clients, watching me just pull them in with this system. That I want that. And it was the first time it clocked, like, when I speak about offers only, I attract people who don't have an offer. When I speak to, look at all this free time I've got and it feels weird, and I'm going to tell you how weird it is.
Anyone wants that.
They're like,
Yeah.
So I had people in my inbox that, I mean, revenue-wise, I tried to wipe it off because that was another limiting belief. Like,
Yes.
why are these big boys coming to me? And they were like, I want what you have. And again, imposter syndrome. I was like, why are you coming to me? I don't. And we were chatting, and it's like, it's not the money, it's the system. So I went, for this moment of time, I can show you. And I'm like, Artemis and I were watching Narcos or Griselda. They were giving out those snacks and then getting people after the parties to come and buy more. So I just called that funnel the micro snack cartel.
The way you name things is so funny.
And it was so clear because I'm like, just double down on this 1-1-1 system. So it was, I think for me, March to June was, I went, first of all, embrace fatherhood. And from 27 1-on-1s, I went to 6. So my calendar was really clear. And I had my Modern Maker Tuesday call. My traffic light system sort of went, you enjoy workshops, like doodling on a Remarkable, doing, whatever feels like no design, no, just like write words, build funnels, leverage, whatever. So I just threw in a second call into the community because I was like, I can do a Thursday morning as well. But now all the DMs went from like 100 a day to like 50 a day, 30 a day. So I was like, WhatsApp's the bit that's actually bugging me. You gave too much access.
You're getting 100 DMs a day?
Yeah.
In WhatsApp?
In WhatsApp, because I was offering it to people thinking it was valuable, but naturally my own reflection said, you love email, like the async nature of I don't have to respond right away. And that was the self-imposed belief, like, can I just onboard someone on school? And that's the method of communication. So when people were coming, first of all, they were further down the line. Then I removed all the sales and the branding, and it was all about our micro snack cartel and then power writing, as I called it, which was, I'm not going to teach you things that Matt does or whoever. I'm just going to teach you how to write from the heart, like say what you got to say, but to get people into your funnel. That was the main purpose of the thing. So it became apparent that this period was sort of embracing the dial. And then I went all in on the group because I couldn't have more one-on-ones, or I didn't want to have any. So I kept the people I wanted, and then all of a sudden just started going crazy with campaigns because I was like, you've got the funnel now. I sat down and recorded and templatized because I know people fear technology. Like, this is Frankenstein to me. So I went, here's a template, click one button, you've got a funnel. Here's a little prompt. You don't have to think about copywriting, just voice note it and it will create it, and then I can review it. So I found ways to use AI in the back end, not to write, but to optimize for speed. And I created little minions that did, like an order bump or a checkout page. And I was like, you don't need to be a copywriter. You just need to know what you're selling in this framework. It wasn't even a GPT to start with. It was literally like a fill in the blank prompt. And what happened was my review time shortened and they were getting results faster. But the result was, man, I implemented the funnel, not I made this much money. And holy crap, I got a message from a client now before we came. It was like, I went Christmas shopping with my son and I got back to some sales. I'm really grateful. And I went, this is the pocket, the leverage word lit.
Yeah, that's it.
So sure. I started documenting on LinkedIn and just saying, hey, I optimized this part of the funnel. I added this. And people are just going, what's he doing? Like, what's he adding? So the questions that would come were more, how do I set this up? Not how much am I going to make? And that excited me a lot because it was also embracing my agency days where, I've had a software engineering background my whole life, but it was more, can I just turn this into a game where your offer and your funnel are literally done in a month or 7 days or 2 weeks or whatever feels confident, so we can get to the writing in the email side of things. So even though it was a slow Q1, Q2 felt like I was now onboarding more aligned people.
Yeah.
And when they were asking for one-on-one, I was like, for the time being, I'm not there yet, but I will open it once the baby's settled and so on. So it felt wholesome in the sense that the curriculum changed. I remember putting away 120 workshops, like realizing, because it was like 4 years worth of stuff.
By put away, you mean?
I created a folder on school called The Rabbit Hole.
And just chucked everything
and
in there.
Just threw it all in there. And it felt so refreshing. I was like, you can have it if you want to. It's like an archive.
But it's not something you need to work through, yeah.
But right now, you just need an offer, a funnel, and some content.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, it's like you skinned me dry.
You know what, that actually makes me think of what I'm doing at the moment. Because, like I said, my community is almost like a world of Matt. So I'm dumping everything in there. Only recently have I started kind of creating like once you come in, do this. But like that actually gives me like nugget of like, okay, I probably need to sort that out and just be like, just come in and do these things.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of it. Everything else is kind of...
Yeah, like the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Go in at your own risk. Like you'll get sort of more context around it if you want to. But it also, I feel I'm not even done yet with the culling of it. I'm like, I can even neaten this down more to the point where you don't need to watch the entire thing. If you want to assemble these bits, these are the frameworks or the templates or the bots to help you fast track it. There was a bit of me going like, I'm reviewing too much of the same thing, like offers in my world. Here's how I write it. Here's a little prompt that helps you get started 80% of the way. Now my review time went from an hour to like 20 minutes. I was like, people just want the speed. But but it was really wholesome to look at Q2 from a non-revenue driving lens and more like an artist trying to just play the song finally and not gig for the sake of getting paid.
Mm.
And it, in hindsight, got me paid more than before, but designed in 3 days a week.
Yeah. So those 3 months, you were still trying to be a new dad in all of this, which is a big part of obviously what you're doing, and you'd kind of focused almost the leverage side of things around that part of your life, so it kind of flowed with how your life was going, which is actually a really cool thing as well. And I'm expecting a baby in March as well, and I can already see how mine is going to probably flow in like a similar way of like, I now have to start thinking about things differently, and that's going to affect like what I'm talking about and stuff like that. But so that period for you was kind of settling into that, figuring out how this, this new way of working is going to work for you, and feeling good about, okay, I've got this kind of new simplified way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need to kind of continue doing. So if we then go to August, September, October, I've missed a month out there. July.
Yeah.
July, August, September. Was that just more of the same, or what was happening there? I can't really remember.
I think for me, when I did the back end stuff and it was clear, I was then like, what do you enjoy? Go do more of that, which is mostly content and finessing the message. But also by this time we had a little bit more of a routine with the baby. So I was like, I actually enjoy my one-on-ones, marketed that a little bit, but brought in the async nature or cut down what wasn't working. But I think I actually doubled down on the word leverage in the marketing department, where I started voicing more. I mean, for me, the fun has always been email marketing driven, like digital products, Ascension, and this and that. Before, I felt more like, I hate labels, but it was more like a business coach. I think July, August, September, I was like, just embrace the marketer in you. Talk about the little snacks and how they impact and leverage and whatnot. And I was getting people who were selling high ticket going, how do I build leverage? Can I turn my existing stuff into snacks? So I went, this is actually really fun for me to consult people to see what's on your Google Drive, what comes naturally to you. How can we actually package it into something that's, like on LinkedIn, everyone would give away freebies and random templates. And I was like, the reason they're not ascending is because you're selling 10 prompts and then trying to offer like, I don't know, some sort of business consulting. It has no relationship between it.
Yes, they're just going for the thing that's popular and it's going to get them lots of engagement. And
so you've got 30,000 people on your list in some cases, and you can't sell a $9 product. There's a reason for that. To me, it was really obvious, but I realized I had to show why it's not working. So I just doubled down on, if we think of leads and then clients, the middle bit is customers. But without using that language, using the word leverage and snacks and like the playful side to show people how I can be more of a dad, like the newbie dad era. Where I think in my mind, because I love naming characters, I was like, the modern maker is the engine bit. Once you do that, you can either be dad, so the dad funnel.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
That helps me put on more diapers and mop the floor a bit and, do what I got to do, walk the dogs and be dad. But also the expression of being a mother flower.
What's that all about?
Because I'm naturally not in tune with LinkedIn like the way you are, which is growth driven. It was more the mother flower says what he has to say, or she, to get people in the funnel. So you've made the thing. Am I going to use AI to say my message, or am I going to say what is true to get people in the funnel that are pre-sold, that are aligned? It's sort of like, Eugene Schwartz's breakthrough advertising book, talking to levels of sophistication. The mother flower speaks to other mother flowers. Basically filtering things.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to embrace this new, like moving away from the engineer and more into the marketer role. Now that you have the system, can I speak to get people in the system?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still figuring these bits out, I think. But it was really fun seeing, basically refining the message through the summer. And I hired some guy called Theo, who was one of Alan Sultanic's students.
You've mentioned him before, but I've never heard of him, I don't think.
Yeah, he's
Is
like
he an
this
email guy, email copywriter?
email guy. He was like, you want to be a dad, you got to run some ads.
Right, okay.
And I was like, well, this bit's working really well, but actually the whole customer, snack thing, I tried ads myself, and I was like, if I press this button and people buy, then I'm pretty much filling my email list for free in a platform that nobody knows me on, which is Facebook. And then I hired him, and he was like, well, the reason it's not working is because nobody knows you. So you got to go long form. You got to do this. You got to do that. So hired him. He gave me the strategy, and I was like, oh, brilliant. I'll build this thing myself now.
The strategy for what, sorry? Was this your email or LinkedIn?
For getting cold traffic from Facebook.
For ads.
For ads. I think I just didn't have the knowledge to play that game. So when he showed me why it wasn't working, I was like, well, I understand the funnel. I just got to build it in a certain way. So he advised me on how this would convert. And it was pretty much the same, but you got to give them more depth. Think of it like a newspaper. Like my whole story's on a page.
So it's landing page, but then that landing page is a lot longer than what it would be if you were sending it to your email list or people who know you.
And it was more understanding, like somebody who's sophisticated looking at an ad. It's like, oh, my tire's broken, so I'm going to see an ad that says, I'll fix your tire. And you're literally going to put your hand up and go, or click, buy. Yeah. And that was something that didn't come naturally coming from LinkedIn, because you're not going to literally have a post that says, work with me right now.
Yeah.
Whereas on the ads, that worked. And then you do the problem awareness bit in your story and whatever. But it was a fun season because I just embraced this little funnel and said, if you splash some money on it, can I be more dad now? Because the customers are coming through. I mean, I'm never going to do that properly, I feel, because I love the content game. But it gave me like a 90-10 split, knowing like my email list gained about 1,000 new followers, subscribers that were actually customers. So the way you write to them is so different. And I was like, oh, this is a whole new world that can supplement this. And it actually helped me come off of LinkedIn completely. I remember, because when baby was born, I was like, I haven't been online for a few days. How can I do more of that without harming all the good work? And that was something that's still ongoing now.
And that kind of comes back to the whole, when you don't need something.
Yeah.
Because now you've kind of got your feet wet in ads. That's a way that you can get customers and grow your email list. Before it was just LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So you've now got, you can drop one or the other whenever you need to, which is a great
it's like I don't need to be online to serve the purpose of organic. If I have to be away, I can be away without feeling guilty almost, or, completely annihilating my reach or all the work.
Yeah.
But it was a nice, I'd say a vitamin rather than a painkiller. It's like, I can now supplement it. But what would you say your July, August, September was about?
Yeah, it was it was really, so it was continuation of working with people one to one, continuation of, you know, using this kind of lived experience way of writing and talking about that. Um, July, um, so ordinarily in our kind of space, like consulting and stuff like that, coaching, whatever you want to call it, there is a difference, I know, but coaches. um, Typically the summer is like dead,
Yeah.
you know, because all the C-suites are all on holiday, kids are on holiday, and, you know, people are
Yeah.
not,
Like
that's not
buying.
when people are buying because it's the middle of the year. They're not stressed about their budgets yet. Um, so July, August, that's typically a dead zone in what we do. But for me, I'd been signing more clients. So like July and August were the best months up until then for the year. I've been signing more clients, um, which now with the new way I was selling that one-to-one offer was, instead of just, you know, the monthly retainer, it was a 13-week thing. It was a
Hmm.
3-month thing, so people could either pay that in one go, or they could spread it over the 3 months,
Hmm.
which is an exciting thing as well, because now if someone was signing up for the 3 months and paying in full, it's like big spike,
Yeah.
and that's really fun
Yeah.
because you're
High
like,
ticket.
you know, you're out for a coffee and then you can see someone's just signed on who you've been chatting to, and you're like, oh great, just made
Yeah.
this amount in one day, which feels like crazy. Um, so that's where, you know, I was signing people on for, you know, 3 months. I think a couple of those kind of, two or three of those kind of came through in July and August, which was, you know, made them good months. Um, and I think the reason people were coming to me was because also in that summer period, I found that I attracted a couple of people who weren't necessarily like, so earlier on in the year in like April, when I just started talking to this kind of new audience, the people I'd been attracting were like CEOs.
Hmm.
Um, for example, one guy was an agency CEO, like a UX UI design agency,
Mm.
works with like massive brands. They're like, he's got a team and everything. And another guy was who'd previously built two big companies, exited them, and was just starting this kind of, I'll call it a lifestyle business, but he's doing
Yeah.
like 500K a year or something. So it's not really, but, um, and, you know, his main goal was just to enjoy the writing and figure that out. Um, but what the people that were coming to me in July and August, were more like consultants and like more the solo types,
Mm.
which isn't really typically the kind of people who I've been trying to talk to, but because of the way summer goes for those sorts of people, it's like
Oh, I'm gonna build
it's
up.
it's like
Mm.
no, it's like shit. What's going on?
Right. The
I need to do
opposite.
something here because they're kind of struggling with like,
Mm.
LinkedIn's quiet. My, you know, business isn't going as kind of well as I
Yes.
thought it was.
Dip and
Yeah. Um, so there was a bit of this kind of like panic around like LinkedIn is being weird. You know, it's the holidays. Like, what am I doing? And then also people who, you know, have a mind of, I want to spend time in the holidays and come out of it doing
mhm.
with a momentum on LinkedIn, and that's going to help me when September comes around, when people are back from their holidays with cash in their
Yeah.
hand. Um, so that kind of worked out really well for me, that little period, because what I offer just kind of capitalized on that. But then in August, that was when, after kind of, you know, 3 or 4 months of working with these new types of people, every week I'm auditing their content, sending looms,
Hmm.
you know, patterns start coming up, so you kind of figure out like what am I really helping them with the most. So then I wanted to introduce a new way of working with me, and with my email guy, we kind of came up with this 4-week boot camp idea.
Oh yeah.
So the first one we ran was in August, and coming up, that was another thing that I then had to come up with, like modules. What am I teaching? So I'm like, oh no, it's just another course. But then because I had Alex on, you know, who I was working with, it kind of added this like like we're doing this on this date, so you have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to. We're
That's
promoting
true.
it. We're
Yeah.
selling it, so you have to have something. So that helped me just kind of put it together. And the way I put that together was I use ChatGPT. I don't really use it as much as you do AI. I don't think, or in as clever ways as you do. But um, I was I basically took like all the looms, or like 10, 15, 20 of the looms that I'd been sending to people auditing their posts,
Hmm.
and uploaded it into ChatGPT and said, "Can you just tell me, like, I want to create a 4-week boot camp.
Hmm.
Can you tell me what I should be teaching every single week over the 4 weeks? We can have one session every week for 4 weeks. What should I be teaching? What should be the name of each module, and what should be the individual lessons
Hmm.
within each session that I should be teaching based on what I've been teaching my clients for the last
Hmm.
4 or 5 months?" And it just spits it all back, and I'm like, lovely. That's
Yeah.
like all that like stress and pressure that I was feeling earlier on in the year. Just whipped that up, and it worked, and it felt really good. And I was like, okay, that's like I have that set now. So then we sold. I think we got like 15 people into the boot camp, which it was like I think it was like 2 grand or something, which was like amazing. So
It's
it's like a big,
amazing.
like
Yeah.
4 weeks of
Splash.
work, working with people in like a group scenario instead of one to one, teaching people how to write on, helping them write stories, um, uh, like how to write hooks, um, different engagement tactics and like readability
Mm.
tactics and things like that, and then also a bit of kind of like positioning around like how do you position your profile, because the whole kind of thing I was speaking to sell that was to grow your reputation on LinkedIn, which is
Hmm.
like a kind of something that people want. They want to grow. It kind of talks to their ego a little bit,
Yeah.
which is ultimately what everyone kind of wants on
Of
LinkedIn. But then there's
course.
kind of little side missions which everyone wants.
Hmm.
So it was all based around like growing your reputation. How do we write hooks that grow your reputation on
Hmm.
LinkedIn? How do we tell stories that grow your reputation, not just like
Yeah.
go viral and
Yeah. That's something you do really well, actually, because there's the viral people on LinkedIn are very. I see them programmatically, like this carousel, this infographic,
yes.
and it's rubbish.
It's not
Like
very
there's
accessible
yeah,
either, because the people who are doing that, putting carousels out every day, which are, for anyone who doesn't know what a carousel is, it's like these, I don't know, 8 page to
yeah,
20, 30 page docs, which are all like value, 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 step by step how to do something, or like lessons.
mm-hmm.
Um, and typically that requires a designer, so you have to hire a designer, outsource that, and if you don't do that, then you have to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
So that takes like 2 or 3 hours, and like who the hell has 2 or 3 hours to create one carousel? If you want to do that 5 times a week,
Oh,
it's like 20 what? It's like 10, 12 hours a week that you'd have to spend to put a carousel out every day,
you
which
need
is
a
just,
content team, right?
yeah, which is just nuts. And obviously the people who are doing that they're typically people who are running businesses with teams that
Hmm.
all they basically just overseeing that business, and that's generating revenue, and they can put that
Hmm.
some of that cash into growing their personal brand. So they're the people who can do that. But typically, a typical person who's just working at a company, or runs their own kind of small business, or whatever they're doing, isn't really going to be paying money to someone to create these big
Hmm.
things, these big, crazy, complex pieces of content, and they equally don't have the time for it. So like, um, the most efficient way is just to write something. Um, so that was the basis of what we're teaching in that boot camp, and that was great. Another kind of new way to work with people, and multiple people at
Hmm.
once. Um, so that was like a big success, and that was something that I ended up doing again in November. Um, and that was really kind of the main thing for that period. The community Coffee Builders was kind of growing. We would promote that like one month, and then we'd switch to the next month was
Yeah.
the boot camp. So the main way I've been selling that as well, the boot camp, and um, was mainly through email. Every month would promote, doors open for copy builders. You can join 4 days, join it, open, close cart. But then for August, for the boot camp, it was the same thing, open, close cart over 4 or 5 days. I did a bit of work on LinkedIn to promote that as well. And one of the ways that I found was actually a really good little kind of way to start some conversations was put a poll up on LinkedIn.
Oh, and then DM them.
I can't remember if I told you about this, but this is something that I put in the community as well because it works so well. That you put a poll up, like the most unsexy type of LinkedIn post you can imagine. And the idea of the poll is that it's just a very simple question that lots of people can answer with a very clear answer that you want them to answer. So, for example, in my case, the poll I put up to which I was using as a kind of post to get to outreach people for the bootcamp was something like, what's the most important platform to grow on for you right now? And it was like LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, whatever.
On LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn. So it's like, obviously it's going to be LinkedIn. So like loads of people click on that. But once you put that poll up and people click the answers, you can see exactly who has voted what answer. So then all you need to do then after that is I would just send a template message saying hi name, how you doing? In August, I'm working with X amount of people to get this outcome. It's going to be in a bootcamp style format. It's everything I teach my one-to-one clients, just in a more condensed kind of sprint group method.
Yeah.
Would you like me to send you details? And this was all on LinkedIn. So just open up the name, go on the profile, send that message, and just went boom, 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 boom. So all of a sudden you're sending like this offer out to like 100 people or something because people really engage with polls.
Yeah.
And then people who would either respond yes or just ignore it, obviously. And we got a couple of people from that as well. So that was like a really useful tactic to not just rely on email, but also, make LinkedIn work and literally just with one post where you're like...
And then you'd sign people from like off the back of that. That's really cool and playful in a way because you're just like, hey, I'm going to DM for a change the whole inbound, chemistry.
Yeah.
And talk to someone and have a conversation.
Yeah. And it's still, I think people get in their head of like, the post that I put on LinkedIn to try and get like a lead from or like an inquiry from has to be like a case study or something like that. But like, you can just use the content as like a bait to get some sort of engagement or like, a profile view or like a like or a comment. And then from there, you can just talk to that person. And then you do all your selling in the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that because we in Modern Maker, a lot of people were like, oh, my leads are drying up or this and that. And I was like, because I see everyone do the whole case study DM thing that maybe worked in 2023 or works if you have a bigger audience. I was like, actually, people just want to be human. So what if you created a really ugly post with like, I even got them on Facebook rather than LinkedIn because Facebook gives you this block of color. If your post is under like 100 characters, it will make it bright pink or green or blue or something.
Right.
So you don't even need Canva. It will be like the default font, big red thing or whatever. And I just like got them in a session and I was like, I'm thinking of doing a workshop on so-and-so topic. Would you like the deets? Or I'm thinking of brainstorming, doing something. So you don't even know what it is yet. And then no DM me word, like literally that's the sentence, ugly red background, whatever it is, off brand, and got people to copy paste that on their LinkedIn and press send. And we had people come back to, man, I'm getting so many responses. Like, I got 37 comments under this and that. And I was like, okay, if it's 37, do a free workshop. If it's 3, get them on a call. But the trick was, just be human. Like, don't do this DM me stuff. Just ask and be honest.
Yeah.
And the responses weren't word. It was, yes, please, or tell me more. I was like, all you got to do is just be a bit different. in a human way. So I like the whole poll idea because by LinkedIn standards, that's the one that gets the least impressions, right?
Well, it can actually get quite a lot of impressions
Mm.
because it's like interactive. Like
Mm.
there's like a clear signal. It's like you can vote on a poll and it's like completely anonymous. So like you can vote on it. Obviously, the person who posts that post
Yeah.
can see you voted on it, but nobody else can see that. But with like a like and a comment, everyone can see that.
I see.
So, and I don't know whether if you click to vote on a poll, it pushes that into your feed, your audience, so they can then see that you voted
Mm.
on a poll. I'm not sure. So, because there's this whole thing on LinkedIn again, like the corporate, like I can't be seen
Yeah.
engaging with something which my boss or this client will not like me engaging with.
Hmm.
So I don't know if there's something around like a poll which kind of masks that, which allows people to like
Oh,
engage with
it's
it. I don't know.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that was something as well, which I kind of I guess kind of came around a bit more on in that period was like you don't need to just rely on posting something and then getting messages from that post,
Hmm.
like inquiries and stuff like that. More just like how can I just like my content, the writing that I'm putting out and the stuff I'm putting out. That's just a means to start a conversation, which
Hmm.
ultimately is like uh, is the way you can talk to someone, understand their problems in a much deeper way.
Yeah, like actually get qualitative data back,
Yeah,
not just numbers.
yeah, which is what you want for like when you're working personally with someone. But like with a community or like a product or something, then yeah, sure, just like scattergun it
Yeah.
out. So yeah, that kind of period was like the boot camp. That was really good. Um, and kind of just knowing that that was like a success going through those 4 weeks,
Hmm.
that worked really well. So I was like, okay, well, I can park that and do it again.
Hmm.
I created it as I went through, so I'd create the sessions week by week. Um, yeah, so that was another way of working with people that I could then just put in the back pocket and say, okay, I'm going to
Hmm.
run another one of these in like November. Um, and again, it kind of comes back to that like having a bit more control over like what you're doing and
Hmm.
so you don't have to feel like that pressure. Like
Yeah, it's
run that
confined.
once, it worked well. I can run that again whenever I want to, and I can hopefully get the same amount of people in it or more.
Hmm.
Because I've now got like results from the previous people or something like that. So
Yeah.
um, yeah. So okay. So then the last quarter of the year, October, November, December, which we're in now, what's that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting how we have so many parallels in the sense like I think the common theme of our convo has been containerization,
Mm,
like blocks of coaching, consulting, advisory, whatever it is. Because for me, with the end of the year, I went through. I mean, again with the leverage hat on, going. I've got an email list. Here are my assets. Here are my. This is part of the funnel. There's this many customers, there's this many clients. I just went, how many people can buy again? They've bought a product. Can you get them to buy a second product? There was Black Friday, all of those things just now popping off. So I was like, usually, I mean, historically, I've had my highest revenue months around Q4 because it's like buying season or, people are in that
mm,
budget zone. So I actually went on a little bit of a customer spree where I said, I've got 6,000 or so people on my list, looked through the numbers and said, these are all the people who bought this thing, but not that thing. So I would play with small segments and then just get little sparks of people buying the next thing and giving them incentives. That was like pre Black Friday to validate which products would sell well in a bundle. And then I opened up my one on one after we sort of spoke about the whole async thing. Um, I also did a boot camp because people were asking me, can I have the whole funnel in literally a short amount of time? So I was like, I wanted to optimize my school community to create these assets. So I was like, it's a great idea. run an 8-week sprint, get your assets, put them on school, but also get paid to demonstrate that to people. So it was a great opportunity. I ran the boot camp, but my phrasing was a little bit off. So I thought it was a flop at the beginning. But what I had done is rear too far away from my truth. And then I remember in our WhatsApps, after our conversations, I was like, you know what? Let's go back to the old messaging. So what happened was I oversold by 2 extra spots because someone on the last day, I was looking for, I think it was 6 spots and I sold 8, about $2,000 as well. So I was like, this is my trial test thingy. And somebody found the link, even though it was turned off, something with cache, like CACHE, like internet cache. Found the link, bought it, and then begged me for him to stay. I was like, this is mad.
Wow.
But what happened through that, I had about 50 or so conversations with people who were asking for the details. And they ended up buying my one-on-one container, which had no WhatsApp access or any of that, to build assets and then work on their emails. So I think it was a 40K week or something in that week, which bled into the rest of the month and had like a ridiculous end there where I was like, this is the first time what I thought was a flop was the first time I also had conversations.
Yeah.
And this was pre-Black Friday, the week before. It's like, oh, now I've got Black Friday. Instead of bundling and doing all the things I was trying, just bundle everything and go give all of it away for $200 because I was working into bringing 2026, having a lot more refined with the tools and, the implementation. So then when Black Friday hit, it was like a little cherry on top. But last Black Friday, I only sold that one thing. This Black Friday, I added the one-to-one offer as an upsell. And then if they said no, added the community as a downsell. So I extended that where my lower ticket sales were actually less, but the higher ticket sales were more. And I realized there was some sort of thirst for more hands-on work. I just phrased it and was honest about it being a hybrid. I'm not going to do it for you, but it's optimized with these tools. You get like my little minions to do your pages, your this, that. We meet in the strategy calls. But I added the calls as an option. Like you can get it without the calls, you can get it with the calls, and you can get me doing, more of the hybrid for you stuff as well. So that gave me a lot of insight about where the market was going and sort of ended November in a nice place. But I also realized that all of this stuff led to another opening. So my wife and I are going to open a company to start a little property portfolio. Because we bought our third house and it all came from taking online income into offline income.
Yeah.
And we just said it's exciting to see. I mean, what's happening probably for you too, or everybody else who builds a brand, you get online stuff that is coaching, consulting, whatever it is. But then your brand, in the age of AI and all this, we've now built something that can then be leveraged elsewhere. So it opened up ideas for, we're going to call it Pallet Town from Pokemon. And also pallets because her work is in construction.
Yeah.
And that, again, revolves around my brand, let's say. But then I was like, with the love for watermelon and my little universe and whatnot, I actually donated to some schools in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, nice.
Where kids were learning to sell through making watermelon juice.
Okay.
And people came to me through my email list going, hey, I see you speak about watermelons. We've got this thing. So I was like, can we talk about acquiring the farm? And doing that sort of stuff. So it started off as a joke, right? With Cyprus and having watermelons in August. But now I'm seeing little pockets of more offline opportunities come to tackle the how can I be more dad mode, more offline than online, but still keep the brand intact. So it forms a triangle. It's like coaching online, consulting and advisory. The one-on-one is going to be a different company. And then the offline property or whatever that may be, which was an opening we didn't see before because of all the transitions.
Yeah.
So that is what it was, but like everything streamlined in terms of the message, the clients, the retention. Black Friday also for the first time, no, second time, I did it last year, had sales going vertically as well as horizontally. So horizontally being people on my list got offers, but now clients got offers to ascend into
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
other places, which that was literally three DMs
Yeah.
sent en masse, and people who wanted to stay, got incentives for lifetime value, which actually shows you that you don't really need a massive number to earn whatever the target is. You can like build more relationships with who's already in there. So it was a nice little opening for me. It felt very chaotic, I'm not going to lie. It was like I'm doing a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And I felt the strain after. But I'm picturing a meme of some guy, the bodybuilders with the skinny legs trying to lift.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I felt like that after Black Friday, but I was really honest with what I thought was a flop. The one-on-ones, I'm like, hey, there's going to be a gap here. So-and-so, I was just honest with what happened. They were like, no problem. It's Christmas over here in Australia and it's summer and, for them. So I was like, okay, we'll extend the container into January, which freed up space. But again, it comes back to our theme of like just being honest and truthful about the mess and the...
Yeah, doing it your own ways, creating your own rules and leaning into that, yeah.
Yeah, so that, yeah. I felt this quarter for me was the strongest in terms of being dad and business owner and having fun while doing it. Whereas before was sort of like, whoa, made mistakes, figuring them out, feeling a bit, out of place, and then finally tuning it back.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you sort of closing this year, knowing you're expecting as well? And
yeah, it's been like so for I'm wanting to take a break in March after the baby's here for like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So then that obviously makes you think like, okay, I actually need to be like strategic and think ahead now.
Yeah.
Because if I'm signing clients for 3 months, if I'm continuing to do that into like January, then it's going to bleed into March, April when I've got this new human to look after, and I don't want to be doing that. So I decided to announce like a cutoff for working with me on that 13-week thing, the 13-week engagement, end of November. So that in itself created like November was the best month of the year because that cutoff was there and it was the last chance for people to work with me for that in that way. So got two new clients from just that period. Also reran the boot camp, which this time round it worked really well the first time, so I didn't need to create anything new. It was just open up the doc, help talk people through the session. Was able to increase the price on that new round as well because we'd got results from the previous people, so it had a lot more value than it did the first time. Yeah. I think it was still, still just kind of continuing to kind of have fun with like what I was writing on LinkedIn. That still feels good, and it doesn't really ever feel like a pain. Mm-hmm. Also over the year as well, I started advising for Magic Post as well. So that whole relationship started in March, and that's we kind of had a 12-month agreement. So advising them for 12 months and some equity in return. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that kind of relationship was talking about that on LinkedIn as well, and kind of pushing people into that. But that working in that way with a company as well was really interesting because it's like that's a whole new way of working with like you know, earning like not money, but like revenue, but more just, you know,
in a
having,
different way.
yeah. So being able to work like advisor on a company and kind of, especially when it's Magic Post is a tool for essentially managing your LinkedIn content, writing content, and working with them to like develop that, make that better, and then talking about it online as well. It's like even just doing that is really interesting to get insight on what it looks like to actually grow like a SaaS is really interesting. But then also it's like if I were to do something like that for myself or have like a product or whatever,
Oh yeah, you have insight.
I now know like, okay, this I've done like 9, 7, 8 months of kind of talking about this product, and I can kind of figure out like, okay, this is probably the best way to do this in future. So if I can, that's like something I've got my eye on for next year, because if I'm not working with people one to one and trying to like kind of do it a you and reduce how many people I'm working with and time and that sort of thing, I'm going to need a product or something that I can just put people into, and that's kind of it. So yeah, I think kind of going into next year, coming into December, it's like I've kind of done what I think I wanted to do for the year, and that feels really comfortable,
awesome,
which is great. So December is like, just chill out. I'm going to take 2 weeks like off in December
Completely.
and kind of just try and zone out completely. I've told my clients as well, like we've agreed on like, look, we're going to have a little break, but we'll just add it on to the end of whatever we're doing. Yeah, so that feels really good. So it just so weird how the year started like just feeling like a complete like kind of meltdown almost, to now the other end just feeling like really in control of everything, and yeah, it just feels enjoyable. And then obviously going into next year, it's like I have the this offer, this one-to-one offer which I know works, and I know I can get clients for. I've got the boot camp which I know works, got my community which I know works. So I've got these kind of things to use and talk about on LinkedIn to get clients. It's now just kind of on me to like, pick and choose when I want to do it, and
that's
which is great. So it's
nice
like
part.
it's been a really cool year actually, in that sense of kind of realizing that there's things that I don't have to be doing. I can just cut things out. Which yeah, like I think you said like earlier, is kind of like the theme for both of us. I think is like gaining
I mean,
control
it's,
over kind of things a bit more and realizing that you don't have to have.
like these self-imposed
Yeah.
things. I mean, it's so nice to like reflect on it, because we both went the ways we did and found what was aligned as well and did it. And I think in hindsight, hearing you speak and maybe vice versa, it's like there is fear in everything you do, regardless of where you are in the journey. We both like maybe bringing these chats together gave us perspective that that the battle isn't fought alone, or other people are where you are, or everybody's going through whatever. Because I remember when we did chat versus when we weren't, the decisions that I was making were on auto default failure in my mind. But then towards the end of the year, like you have this, I don't know if it's confidence or courage or a mixture of all of these words, where you're like, yeah, if it flops, I'll figure something else out. If it doesn't flop, I'm going to double down. I'm going to start spotting patterns, but one way or another, you're going to come out of the woods and figure it out. So I think maybe to close off our CY Broy
Whatever we want to
end
call
of
it.
year title,
Yeah.
podcasting, maybe we sort of give a word of advice, or like a little advent calendar, a bit of chocolate to chew on.
A snack,
A little snack for people.
Yeah.
To round it up.
I think for me, and it isn't just because this is the positioning that I kind of chose for this year, but like I can't stress it, like this whole year for me has been like just really focusing on just enjoying what you're doing. Like, do the things that you enjoy doing. If you're not enjoying doing it, take it out, change it, try and do something else. But like, if you're not enjoying doing it, then it is just going to generally be quite painful for you. So I think you just have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to figure out a process for something that allows you to enjoy it, whether it's writing on LinkedIn or working with a client or whatever. That's something that I'm going to just try and continue to carry on through to next year. And yeah, what would your
That's really, really nice. Because if you don't enjoy it, what's the point? And so many people are looped into businesses they actually hate and they push through, or if it's not business, it's corporate jobs. And we followed so many people like the Justin Welsh's of the world who speak about that messaging a lot. And I mean, for me, it's strange coming out of my own mouth thinking, because I've never spoken about growth and hanging around people like yourself and seeing that perspective, is building an audience is your best form of leverage to start with. So it doesn't matter whether it's 3,000 or 30,000 or 300,000 people, like an audience is leverage when you use it that way. But also there are so many bits of wisdom that you have on a Google Drive that is collecting dust that you can actually share with the world, whether you monetize it or not. Start looking at how much leverage you can extract out of those odd untitled templates, the Loom videos you shoot for clients. Like, start demonstrating and giving and charging for all those things, because they give you time back. And I think, it sounds cliche, but money is infinite, but time is finite. We've only got this round to go, so we might as well grow, build an audience, build the assets to live a little more. Because I think my biggest realization is we do all this online stuff to live offline. And into the next year, I think I'm also going to be doubling down on that and expressing and being human and showing up the way we should. So maybe 2026 we'll also have another episode of catch up, and it's been awesome sort of summarizing it.
Yeah, I think it's been really good to reflect on it. We've obviously been talking throughout the whole year and kind of going through the motions and everything. So it's nice to actually like reflect on all of that. And it's such a good thing to have just someone to talk to about things, not in like a therapizing way, but like just in
friendly.
Just like share what you're doing, share, what's gone right, what's gone wrong. I think that is a really helpful thing for anyone. So that's like another kind of thing we can kind of close on, I think.
Build relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, man. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Cool. Thank you.